I encourage people who are autistic or consider themselves as possibly autistic, but you don't really know, to talk to a therapist because a therapist can help you so very much. But having said that, there is something that most therapists miss, and that is a point of reference. What I'm saying is that if a therapist is not himself or herself autistic, they don't have that point of reference. They don't really fully understand where you're coming from because, well, to use to use the proverb, they haven't walked a mile in your shoes or your moccasins or whatever. They don't know what it's like. Now they have studied it, they've researched it, they know the signs of it, and that's perfectly okay. I mean, a medical doctor doesn't have to have cancer to diagnose cancer, right? But still, it helps if the doctor does have, I don't want to say it helps for a doctor to have cancer, but to understand what cancer is all about, what the patient is going through. It helps his empathy and sympathy to have gone through whatever himself. Same thing true of a therapist, but most therapists, I believe, probably not autistic. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go talk to a therapist. It means that, well, you need to talk to people who are going through it or access people. That's why I do this YouTube channel. That's why we do what we do. There are other people, a lot of other people on YouTube that talk about autism. That doesn't mean that you should ignore the therapist and just get all your information from YouTube. Nah, you got to go to the doctor. You got to go to the therapist. Yeah, well, you don't have to, but I strongly recommend it because they have insights that we don't have. So these things working together will help you better, in my opinion, better understand your autism. Or if you think you have autism, help you better make the decision whether or not you need to go see a therapist. And I think you do have autism, I think you should go see a therapist. That's just my opinion. You do with it what you want. But when you talk to a therapist, there may be some things they miss. Now, the therapist that I went to, we're going to talk about those things in a moment. But the therapist that I went to is very well versed. She had insights that I had no idea about. Probably the best thing, one of the best things I ever did in my life outside of getting married was going and spending some sessions with my therapist. Just enlightened a lot of things. And she didn't miss much. In fact, I don't know if she missed anything. But then again, that's all she did was autism. So, are you going to have that same benefit? Well, maybe. I hope so, but maybe not. But I came up with 3 things that are probably easy to miss. Not just from a therapist, but from anybody. Maybe your family members, they don't quite get what it's all about. But we're thinking of anyone that you're depending on, your supply sources, who you are relying on to help you. Let's talk about these 3 things. Number 1 is what I call selective mutism. Okay, I said I call it that. That's what it's called. Everybody calls it that. Selective mutism, there are people in my life that I don't like talking to. And I don't have a good reason. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't feel real comfortable communicating with these people. And they probably don't feel comfortable with me not communicating with them because they don't understand it. And I got to be honest with you, I don't understand it myself. And I try to overcome it. And I try to fix it. And I try to work with these people best I can. But when I'm around them, I'm not always thinking, this is selective mutism. I'm being rude to these people. I don't even know it. Don't even think about it. I'm just being me. The reason I say that is this is something that a therapist may miss. I mean, how would they know? They're not around you when you're around these people. So maybe they will ask the question, maybe they will not. But that's something that you need to stop and think about. Who can I talk to about this? Well, if you go to a therapist, just flat out ask them about it. You don't have to wait for them to ask you. But also, you can talk to people like me. You can talk about people who are autistic and ask them, do you have any suggestions or ideas how to overcome that? But you may not even know that you have it. You may just think, well, this is just not a person that I talk to because they don't talk to me and they just don't like me, so I'm not going to talk to them. And you misunderstand it. You misinterpret it. People with autism are misunderstood all the time. I call it a misdiagnosis. They have the wrong understanding of who we are, what we do, and why we do it. We are misdiagnosed probably more by ourselves than by anyone else. We don't know, particularly if you've not been diagnosed, particularly if you've not studied autism, Asperger syndrome. You really don't understand why you're doing these things, and you may come to the same conclusion that other people come to. You're just shy, you're just withdrawn, whatever they say. But one of these things, again, is selective mutism. Is that shyness? Maybe. Could be a form of shyness, selective shyness. Extreme shyness, maybe. Fear of rejection, not knowing how to talk to people. Feeling just flat out uncomfortable conversing with this person. Well, if you go talk to a therapist, you might want to bring that up and make sure they know that that is a problem within your landscape of challenges that you're facing that you think is autism or is autism. Number two is stimming is often missed because that self-stimulation, number one, it can be subtle, and number two, everybody does it to some degree. I don't know of any person that if you sit them in a rocking chair, they're not going to start rocking. I mean, you ever been to Cracker Barrel and they have all those rocking chairs outside, and maybe they're busy and they're backed up, and some people just having to sit around, nothing else to do, so they sit in the rocking chairs. All of them are rocking back and forth. They're stimulating, self-stimulating. They're stimming. Everybody does it. And you can't tell looking at all those people in a rocking chair which ones are autistic and which ones aren't. Chances are none of them are, but if one of them is, how would you know? They're all doing the same thing. Same thing is true of stimming. It's not like you're, flapping your hands up in the air. That type of stimming where it's just so very obvious, but there are all kinds of silly things people do. I've heard of women who chew on their hair. Well, I guess guys do too if their hair's long enough. That is a form of self-stimulating. I can't imagine anyone doing that. The one that bothers me the most are people who snap their knuckles. Because I don't know why that bothers me. Just feel it hurts. It doesn't hurt them. It hurts me watching them do it. But that could be a form of stimming. And the forms of stimming are, there's such a broad spectrum. Very easy to be missed. Don't even know it's stimming. And because everybody does it, we don't know to what degree, or, I'm sure experts could tell you, but, most of us don't know what is the intensity level when you say, okay, this is autistic stimming and this is just neurotypical stimming. I mean, how do you gauge that, So if you're going to go talk to a therapist, that's a question you might want to bring up. Number three that is often missed is social skills and communication. Because what's wrong with being quiet? A lot of people are quiet. A lot of people just don't say anything. Now, one of the problems that I have gotten into multiple times with communication skills and social skills is I don't know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. I will say things that are out of line, do things that are out of line, don't even know it. Think I'm just being friendly, think I'm just being part of a crowd until everybody gets quiet, turns around, stares at me, or they make that, roll their eyes. I can't believe you said that. Then you get the message, okay, maybe I'm a little bit out of line here. But unless you get feedback, and people with Asperger syndrome, with autism, are notoriously infamous for not being able to read body language, facial expressions. And so people could be terribly offended with what we're saying or what we're doing. We don't even know it. And because we tend not to be accepted in social circles, we don't even have the opportunity, or I should say a good opportunity, to hone those skills, to develop those skills. So what do? Well, those I don't want to call them flaws, let's call them traits, even though they usually are faux pas. They just get missed. They're overlooked. So I'm just curious. Social skills, your social skills, when you say something dumb or out of line, or you behave in such a way that is not acceptable, do you know it? Can you tell when other people see it? And another problem that we have with this is you may be in some kind of a relationship or a friendship, or maybe a coworker who's just a jerk, a narcissistic personality type. Somebody who likes to bully you, who likes to put you down so they can put themselves up. And they may find things that you say and things that you do to be offensive, but not really. They just do it to humiliate you because, well, humiliating you elevates them. And it's really not even a problem. You didn't say anything out of line. You didn't do anything out of line, but they're trying to make it look like you did because, well, they want to, again, humiliate you. And the word humiliate comes from the same Latin word that we get the word humus, which means dirt. So they're treating you like dirt. You didn't do anything wrong. So, this can be very confusing. You have social skills that are missing, and you don't know it, but you have social skills that are perfectly appropriate, but they're misinterpreted intentionally as being incorrect because the person who sees you as easy prey because of your autism sees an opportunity to build up his ego just a little bit. See those two rectangles on the screen? Hey, let's keep talking if you want. Just click one of those two rectangles, conversation. Yeah, we'll continue. And if not, we'll talk to you all next time.